Alright, back to versus mode. Actually, one interesting thing about versus mode is that we could look in here to see our records. So pretty much the yeah, how many wins we have with each character, KOs, TKOs, self-destructs. Pretty much, if you accidentally KO, pretty much accidentally fall off a stage, that's not the cause of any opponent. That's what's considered a self-destruct. The total time by hours, the percentage of use in rounds. I think that's what it is. An average, I'm not sure what that means. Whatever. We can even do individual rankings. Look at that. First is Captain Falcon, and last is Jigglypuff. And we even have Mario and Donkey Kong tied. How fitting. Unfortunately, I believe we aren't able to see how many rounds that we have played in total. We just get to see like how many, how many rounds we've seen the character in, not just the total rounds we've played in general. Although, no, never mind, we don't. It's funny because we're gonna need to see how we're gonna need to play a certain amount of rounds in versus mode in order to unlock one of the things in this game. There's also the characters menu that we will look at later. We're gonna need to play 100 versus mode matches in order to unlock a special thing. Now, are we gonna keep playing versus matches? We could. Or we could try to do, I hate to say this, a trick. Trick in the old book in order to do rounds as quickly as you can. And that is to set the damage percentage all the way to 200%, turn handicap on, set it to 1 stock, and have your character's handicap set to 9 with Kirby as your player and Link as the second player. You could do this with either a computer player or a human player, although we'll have to see which is better. Boom. Although, will Kirby be your best bet? Definitely not with the forward throw, because that takes a long time, you know? We'll try different moves. That's not any better. But the thing about Link is that he doesn't really have a good recovery. So, like, yeah, it's almost guaranteed an instant KO against someone, especially here with a lot of knockback. We could try someone like Link that also has some good horizontal damage to see if we could get a good horizontal KO. Which doesn't really seem to work in this situation, unfortunately. So, yeah. Especially on such a huge stage like Yoshi's Island, this probably isn't going to work best. We should probably stick to a specific stage, you know? Maybe one with small blast zones. So yeah. It's fun to see them do the pose in unison. But yeah. Let's see. Let's stick with Kirby and Link. We may as well turn back on stage select. What happens if I turn my handicap to 1? I never tried that. Let's see, does Dreamland have small blast zones? I think it does. Okay, that's what happens. Look at that. That knockback is pathetic. Even though we are at 200 damage percentage. That is what happens. Okay! That's what happens when your handicap is set at 1. One hit and your character will go flying immediately. That's good to know. Alright, may as well grab another controller and plug it in, why don't we? Whoa. What if we set its handicap to 1? And, oh, I have to actually... I actually don't have multiple controllers. I only have one, and I'm just switching them between the controller port 1 and controller port 2 slots. So, yeah, that's how I'm doing this. Alright, let's see how this works. Okay! There's our answer. That is how we can get this done quickly. By the way, I think I forgot to mention that we're pretty much done with... As for now, at least, we're done with normal versus mode matches, and now I'm just showing how to unlock the final thing. Just for a little context. I guess we could do it on any stage now, right? Because now that we realize the whole knockback thing, unless we can't do it on this stage for whatever reason. Ugh. Okay. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We could turn off stage select now. Also, I forgot to mention all the little transitions between the round and the victory screen. Some of them are pretty cute, like that one of the paper airplane. That's pretty funny. Alright. It gets funnier and funnier every time, I tell you. There's gotta be a way I can see the total amount of matches we played. There hasn't been. By the way, here's a little fun fact for this stage. The programming for the animation for the Buzzy Beetle in the background on the trampoline, that whole thing was actually designed by the wife of Masahiro Sakurai. Ain't that cool? Also, yeah, it's another transition you just saw, the barn doors swinging open. At least I think that's the official term for it, right? Again, it's so weird that we spawn so close to one another when this is a pretty large stage. Whatever. There's the paper airplane again. I'm pretty sure those whole transitions were not brought back until, I think it was either Smash Brothers for Wii U and 3DS or Smash Brothers Ultimate. Either one. So I remember them being in both. Although I don't know if the paper airplane one ever came back, unfortunately. I definitely know it was not in Smash Brothers Melee and Brawl. It just immediately cuts to the victory screen. Or at least in Melee it does. In Brawl, it kind of kind of fades out and fades back in to the victory screen. It's pretty weird. Okay, Sector Z again, sure. Just did this one. Well, I guess that's a sign for how fast these rounds are going by. It's that, oh, this stage was selected 2 rounds ago. Well, 2 rounds ago was like 20 seconds ago, you know? That tells you it's working, you know? This trick is working. I feel like it's just picking Sector Z and Saffron City. Maybe it isn't. It's just me thinking weird because I'm like, hey, they haven't selected the Donkey Kong stage yet. You know? Well, here's the Zelda stage at least. That was cool. Just the round spinning away. Alright, after you complete 100 versus mode matches, you will unlock the item switch. You can now use the item switch. Access it in versus mode. Yep. That's it. You just unlock an option for the versus mode. I guess that makes sense that you unlock something for versus mode by playing versus mode. So the item switch lets you change the frequency of when items are spawned, along with turning on and off individual items. So say you don't like a certain item, like the star, you can turn that off. Or the fan, it's a pretty annoying item. The hammer we could leave on, home run, bat, beam, sword. We can leave all these on, you know. So if you just want that, or if you want, you know, items to appear super frequently, you can do that. I'll set the rest of the settings back to normal. So yeah, if you want to use the exploit I did, you could. It's mainly for, you know, those that just want to have all the content without playing the game with friends, or if they want to, you know, do it super quickly. Or they just want to have, I don't know, a competitive stuff for this game quickly. If they want to have competitive stuff for this game quickly. and want to play rounds with no items, they could do that. We'll go back to the typical. We might do some one-on-ones though. Against Captain Falcon, I'll play as Fox. And we'll see what happens when items appear a little more frequently. Well, so I think. There's a crate with nothing in it. Did I set it to very high? Oh, there's a capsule. That had nothing in it. Well, there's a green shell. Okay. Maybe they just don't appear as frequently. Yeah, here's another one. Maybe they just don't appear as frequently for one-on-one battles. That's probably what it is. Alright. Oh, by the way, one more thing about versus mode that I forgot to mention. In the pause menu, if you press A, B, Z, and R together, you'll get this screen that has the announcer saying no contest. That pretty much is an emergency quit button for versus mode. If there's any reason you need to quit a battle at any time, you can do so, which is nice. Yeah, I had it set to very high. Interesting. You could have items turned off entirely, which is useful. So yeah, we may as well see what a no-item battle looks like. We'll probably also do the same for 4 players. Come on. There we go. Let's see. Well, there's Porygon. Surprised he's in this game, considering that there was a controversial episode of the Pokemon anime that involved Porygon. And that happened in 97. So long after this game was released, or long before this game was released. In fact, even the Simpsons made a reference to the episode around the same time this game came out. It's pretty funny. Pretty funny to think about. There we go. What other notes are there? Oh yeah, I do remember one time where I actually played this game with friends. And I remember it was actually at school. I brought my Wii, and I brought my Wii to school one day. This is one of the last days of school. That makes sense. And we pretty much played all of the Super Smash Bros. Games that one day. I brought stuff to play all 3 of them with, and actually, what it was is that around this time, so my Wii wasn't able to read my Smash Bros. Brawl disc properly. Otherwise, I would have just brought that game. Mainly because of, I think I mentioned this previously, the game used a dual-layer disc, which meant some early Wii models couldn't read them properly. Because I guess the disc laser just couldn't read them properly. It was too much for them to handle. And I believe my Wii was one of those Wiis. What was I going to do? Oh yeah, I was going to do a 4-player. You do a 4-player round with no items. Should be interesting. We'll have 2 Jigglypuffs. Screw it. Let's just roll with it. And Donkey Kong's for good measure. But yeah, thankfully though, a friend of mine did bring Smash Bros. Brawl that day, so we started by just, playing Smash Bros. For N64. That was kind of fun. However, yeah, afterwards we quickly moved to Melee. We played that for a little while, and then most of the day was spent with us just playing Brawl, because we really liked Brawl. I mean, it makes sense. It had the most characters, the most content. Of course that was going to be the case. But yeah, fun time. This game reminded me of that. Great. Oh, by the way, did I ever mention about Jigglypuff's taunt? Just it saying Jigglypuff and kind of spinning around. Yeah, it's pretty uninteresting, but oh well. I mean, I don't know what else you could do interestingly with a Jigglypuff taunt, aside from, I don't know, sleeping, but that's already one of its moves! Can't do that. Okay. And I died again. Wow. And everyone's down to 1 stock. This should be interesting. Got a little combo there. Thank you, DK. That was very nice of you. Nope. Thought I could do my taunt there. It's a bit of a delay to it, though, so that's probably why I was never able to, pull it off. By the way, there are some of the enemies from Metroid in the background that kind of fly by. That's pretty much what I was talking about earlier, with how some characters will fly by the stage. It's a nice little detail. I like it. Gives these stages a lot more life, And also it's a way to, cram in more references to these games, which is always a plus. And there goes Donkey Kong. And there we go. I forgot about that animation. One of Luigi's victory animations. That is incredible. I love that so much. Oh my god. Alright, so I believe that's it for Versus Mode. And we're nearly done with Super Smash Bros. There's really only one more thing for us to look at, and that is the characters menu. Here, we pretty much get to look at some of the... Oh, by the way, it defaults, I believe, at the last character you'd play as. It's just a bunch of... You get to look at each character in the game, along with little bios for them, along with pretty much showing you some of their moves and randomizing between all of their animations. Like there's Mario's crouching animation. There's one of Mario's victory animation. Stuff like that. So for Mario, although best known as the Mustache Plumber who battles the Turtle Tribe with his distinct jumping action, this internationally famous hero has also acted as a referee, a driver, and even a doctor. He's been linked to Princess Peach of Mushroom Kingdom for years, but to this day, their true relationship remains a mystery. Oh, that says mustachioed plumber. Interesting. Anyways, Luigi. Though often hidden in his older brother Mario's shadow, Luigi is, in reality, very popular. Taller than Mario, Luigi also jumps higher. Although he didn't appear in Super Mario 64, in Mario Kart 64, he performed to the best of his ability. I sure hope he did. For one who seems to always be in the background, he has many fans who eagerly await his appearance. Glad they're aware of it. By the way, in the bottom right, you get to see some of the games they had appeared in, along with what system they were on. With Mario, it shows Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Kart, and Mario Kart 64. Interesting that has Mario Kart 64 and not Super Mario 64, or even Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo, but whatever. With Luigi, you have Mario Brothers, his first appearance, makes sense. Super Mario Brothers 2, for the NES, he was in that game. And that was also... Well, he was in both Super Mario Brothers 2s, the Japanese and international Super Mario Brothers 2s, and in both games he had the his signature high jump. And in Mario Kart 64, I guess that was his first appearance on the system. Interesting that no Super Nintendo games were mentioned, but whatever. DK, Donkey Kong and Mario started out as arch rivals, but they've patched things up in recent years. These days, DK spends his time searching the jungle for bananas instead of kidnapping beautiful maidens. In the past few years, other members of the Kong family have cashed in on DK's fame as well, including his favorite nephew, Diddy. What's interesting is that it says that, DK, this Donkey Kong used to kidnap maidens like Pauline seen in Donkey Kong, the arcade game. But the Donkey Kong Country games have kind of established, and it's kind of part of Donkey Kong lore, that the Donkey Kong you play as in Donkey Kong Country is different from the one seen in the Donkey Kong arcade game, in that this is actually the arcade Donkey Kong's grandson. And within Donkey Kong Country, the arcade Donkey Kong is seen in the game as Cranky Kong. Pretty cool. Interesting that this doesn't mention that. What's even more interesting is that I'm pretty sure other Smash Brothers games mention this. And his works include Donkey Kong for the NES, not the arcade, interesting, whatever, Donkey Kong Country, and Mario Kart 64. I guess this was before Donkey Kong 64 came out. So, they had that guy. Anyways, Link. Link is the valiant boy hero of the Legend of Zelda series, in which he fights against the evil Ganon to recover the Triforce. Link is the valiant boy. Why did I say valiant? Whatever. Though his tools may change with each adventure, his strength and righteousness remains constant. With his trusty sword and a variety of weapons, he takes adventure head-on. His works include The Legend of Zelda for NES, The Legend of Zelda Link to the Past for Super Nintendo, and The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for N64. Perfect. I think if you were to mention 3 games that Link has appeared in, those are going to be the ones, at least up to this point. They could have mentioned Link's Awakening for the Game Boy Color, but oh well. Samus. Samus Aran is the toughest bounty hunter in the galaxy, using a special suit powered by the technology of the bird people, which allows her to execute daring acrobatic feats. Samus pursues the airborne life form Metroid throughout the universe. Her works include Metroid for the NES, Metroid 2 Return to Samus for Game Boy, and Super Metroid for Super Nintendo. That was pretty much the only 3 games she ever appeared in, up to this point. Yoshi is the friendly dinosaur of Yoshi's Island. He began as Mario's partner, but has since built his own identity, and now appears in many games. He uses his unique ability to turn whatever he swallows into an egg as his foremost attack. Yoshis come in a rainbow of colors, and are said to have a high IQ from a very early age. Works include Super Mario World, Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, and Yoshi's Story. Alright. Kirby. The 8-inch high Kirby hails from a distant, peaceful star. Like his simplistic appearance, he is an easily understood character. True to his instincts, Kirby eats when he gets hungry and sleeps as soon as he grows tired. Nevertheless, Kirby remains a formidable opponent. In addition to his distinct flying and swallowing skills, he also has the ability to copy enemy attacks for ever-changing action. Works include Kirby's Dream Land, Kirby's Pinball Land, interesting that they mentioned that and not Kirby's Adventure for the NES, whatever, and Kirby Superstar. Kirby's Pinball Land. Anyways, Fox. Following in his dead father's footsteps as the young leader of the Star Fox team, Fox McCloud's piloting of the super high-performance combat ship R-Wing for the Lyladian system is still fresh in our memories. His one weakness may be his difficulty earning the trust of his teammates. Works include Star Fox and Star Fox 64. Pikachu. Pikachu, mouse Pokemon. Height, 1 foot 4 inches. Weight, 13 pounds. When several of these Pokemon gather, their electricity could cause lightning storms. It is a Pokedex excerpt. Interesting that they have it for Pikachu, with an excerpt from the Pokedex, which is pretty much I don't even know how to describe it. It's a device in the game, the Pokemon games, that pretty much has bios for every Pokemon. It's in both the game, which lets you see all the Pokemon stats and stuff, and in the anime, it actually not only is in there as a device that the protagonist uses, but also has a voice. Ain't that cool? And works include Pokemon for Game Boy. Interesting, it doesn't mention the Red and Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue, but whatever. Jigglypuff, the balloon Pokemon with the big round eyes. It sings a soothing melody, sending those that hear it to sleep. When mad, it puffs itself up. As a balloon Pokemon, its body is light, weak, and easy to knock away. Interesting that they don't have a Pokedex excerpt for Jigglypuff and just Pikachu. Whatever, its works include Pokemon for Game Boy. Captain Falcon, a regular pilot in the Great Galactic Race F-Zero Grand Prix. Captain Falcon is skilled at collecting prize money. Much about his past remains hidden in the shadow, but it's clear that many a villain hold a powerful grudge against him. And works include F-Zero and F-Zero X. Ness. Ness was a seemingly average kid from Own It, but in truth, he was destined for much more. When a strange meteorite landed near his hometown, the little boy with psychic powers set out to save the world. Little has been said of Ness's character, and much remains hidden. And works include Earthbound for the Super Nintendo. And yeah, that's all the characters and their bios. So there we go. We get little history lessons for each of the characters and where they come from. Pretty cool. And yeah, we've already seen Versus Record and Sound Test. The options. Yeah. And I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 64. Overall, I think the game holds up pretty well. And to this day, is still a really, really fun game. And it's a pretty good time, especially with friends, but even on your own, there is still quite a bit to do. Not a lot compared to other Super Smash Bros. Games, but, of course, it's only the first. Of course, it's the beginning of the franchise, so it was just kind of the roots that would grow over time with each Smash Bros. Game. And for what it is, it's still a really, really solid game. And I do recommend it. It's weird that Nintendo has only re-released this game once, and that's on the Wii. And that was in 2009. To this day, they have never re-released it again. I find that super weird. But, whatever. But yeah, that wraps everything up for this playthrough. Leave a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Bye. By the way, if you press B on the controller in that menu, you get sent back to the title screen, where you could look at the attract mode or whatever and the how to play again if you really want to.